Question number 101. Whether the pendency of a suit in a foreign court will preclude the courts in India from trying a suit founded on the same cause of action. Here correct answer is option B, that is no. Question number 102. Section 10 of the Civil Procedure Code can come into operation. Option A, before filing of written statement in the subsequent suit. Option B, before settlement of issues in subsequent suit. And option C, after settlement of issues in subsequent suit. And option D, all of these. Here correct answer is option D, that is all of these. Section 10 of the CPC can come into operation before filing the written statement in the subsequent suit, before settlement of issues in subsequent suit, after settlement of issues in subsequent suit. Question number 103. Provisions of section 10 of CPC are, correct answer is option B, that is mandatory. Question number 104. Under section 10 of CPC, a court during pendency of a suit before it, option A, can entertain and try second suit. Option B, cannot entertain and proceed to try second suit. Option C, shall not proceed to try though may entertain second suit. Option D, neither can entertain nor shall proceed for second suit. Here correct answer is option C, that is shall not proceed to try through may entertain second suit. Question number 105. Which of the following is not an essential condition for the applicability of the rule of res sub judice? Here options are: the matter in the issue in the subsequent suit must be directly and substantially in issue in the previous suit. Option B, both the suits must be between the same parties or their representative. Option C, such parties must be litigating under the same title in both the suits. And option D, the subject matter is the under same cause of action. Here correct answer is option D, that is the subject matter and the cause of action should be same in both the suits. Question number 106. A. The tenant file a suit for the permanent injunction against B, the landlord, for not to be dispossessed except by due process of law, pleading that B is planning to forcibly dispossess him. During the pendency of our suit, B attempts to forcibly dispossess A. A files another suit for injunction. Option A, the second suit is barred by res judicata. Option B, the rule of res sub judice will apply. Option C, both A and B. And option D, none of the above. Here correct answer is option B, that is the rule of res sub judice will apply. Question number 107. In the case of res sub judice under section 10 of the CPC, the court can pass interim order, grant injunction, appoint a receiver, all of the above. Here correct answer is option D, that is all of the above. Question number 108. Which is the correct essential conditions for the applicability of the rule of res sub judice? Option A, the matter in the issue in the subsequent suit must be directly and substantially issue in the previous suit. Option B, the parties must be litigating under the same title in both the suit. Option C, both A and B. And option D, neither A nor B. Correct answer here is option A, both A and B. Question number 109. A, an Indian citizen, enters into a contract with B, a US citizen based in the USA. Certain disputes arise under the contract and B files a suit in the manner in the Civil Court of New York. A files a counterclaim in the said suit. Subsequently, A files a suit in the same matter in the jurisdiction of Civil Court in New Delhi. Is the latter court barred from trying the suit? Here option A is yes, since this will lead to multiplicity of proceedings. Option B, yes, since by filing a counterclaim A has accepted the jurisdiction of the courts of New York. Option C, no, because the pendency of the suit in a foreign court does not preclude the courts in India to trying a suit based on the same cause of action. Correct answer is option C, that is no, because the pendency of a suit in a foreign country does not preclude the courts in India from trying a suit based on the same cause of action. Now let us proceed to question number 110. Provisions with regard to res judicata provided in section dash of the Code of Civil Procedure. Correct answer here is option D, that is section 11 of the CPC. Question number 111. On which of the following maxim the doctrine of res judicata is based? Here correct answer is option C, that is interest republicae ut sit finis litium is the correct maxim on which the doctrine of res judicata is based. Question number 112. The doctrine of res judicata is based on the maxims. Option A, nemo det bis vixari pro una et idem causa. No man should be vexed twice for the same cause. Interest republicae ut sit finis litium. It is in the interest of the state that there should be an end to the litigation. Option C, res judicata pro veritate occipitur. All judicial decision must be accepted as correct. Here correct answer is option D, that is all of the above maxims are correct in relation to the doctrine of res judicata. Question number 113. What do the provisions of section 11 of CPC deal with? Option A, res judicata. Option B, res sub judice. Option C, garnishee order. And option D, foreign judgment. Here correct answer is option A, that is res judicata. Question number 114. The rule of res judicata is based on the principle that there should be an end to litigation. Option B, no one should be troubled twice for the same cause of action. Both A and B, neither C or D. Here correct answer is option C, that is both A and B. Question number 115. Principle of res judicata applies to suits only, executing proceedings only, arbitration proceedings only, suit as well as execution proceedings. Here correct answer is option D, that is suits as well as execution proceedings. Question number 116. Res judicata means staying the suit during the pendency of the previous suits between the same parties involving similar issues. Option B, not trying the suit if the suit involving similar issues between similar parties is decided. Option C, bar to further suit. And option D, expanding trial of the suit. In question number 116, correct answer is option B, that is not trying the suit if suit involving similar issues between similar parties is decided. Question number 117, principle of res judicata is mandatory. Option A here is the right answer. Question number 118, with respect to the doctrine of res judicata, choose the true statement about propositions. Propositions are, the doctrine of res judicata is based on the public policy. Principle of res judicata applies to civil suits, execution proceedings, arbitration, interim orders, etc. Third, the doctrine of res judicata codified under section 11 of the Code of CPC is exhaustive. Here, correct answer is option A, that is first and second are correct, third is incorrect. Question number 119. Res judicata does not operate, option A, against a pro forma defendant. Question number 120. Res judicata does not apply to. Here correct answer is option D, that is writ of habeas corpus. On the writ of habeas corpus, the doctrine of res judicata doesn't apply, whereas it applies between co-plaintiffs, co-defendants and PIL. Question number 121. With provisions of the code deals with the concept of constructive res judicata. Option A, section 10, option B, section 11, option C, section 12, option D, section 13. Correct answer here is option B, that is section 11. Question number 122. The rule of constructive res judicata is option A, a product of judicial interpretation, option B, a rule of equity, option C, contained expressly in CPC, option D, a part of Supreme Court rules. Here correct answer is option C, that is contained expressly in CPC. Question number 123. Choose the true statement about propositions. Propositions are, section 11 explanation 4 provides the provisions for constructive res judicata. Any matter which might and ought have been made ground of defense or attack in former suit shall not constitute res judicata. Option third, any relief claimed in the plaint which is not expressly granted by the decree shall be deemed to have been refused. Here assertions are, first and second are correct, third is incorrect. First and third are incorrect, first is incorrect. First and third are correct, second is incorrect, all are correct. And question number 123, correct answer is option C, that is first and third are correct and second is incorrect. First assertion is section 11 explanation 4 provides provisions for res judicata is correct, and third, any relief claimed in the plaint which is not expressly granted by decree shall be deemed to have been refused is correct. Question number 124. Whether an issue heard and finally decided by a competent court of limited jurisdiction shall operate as res judicata in a subsequent suit that the aforesaid court was not competent to try. Option A, no. Option B, yes. Option C, answer would depend upon the nature of the issue, and option D, none of the above. Correct answer here is option B, that is yes. Question number 125. Which one of the following is not an essential condition for the application of res judicata? Options are, previous suit was finally heard and decided by the court of competent jurisdiction. Previous suit must be pending before a court. Option B, parties in the previous and the subsequent must be the same. Option D, subject matter of the previous and the subsequent suit must be the same. In question number 125, it has been asked which of the following is not the essential application of res judicata. In the provided option, option B will be the right answer. Question number 126. Choose the true statements about the propositions. Propositions: no suit shall lie challenging the validity of a decree passed in the former suit between the same parties litigating under the same title on any ground based on an objection as to the place of suing. Second, former suit means a suit which has been decided prior to the decision of the suit in which the validity of a decree is questioned. Third, date of institution is material factor in deciding former suit. Here correct answer is option A, that is first and second are correct and third is incorrect. Option A will be the right answer. Question number 127. A decision or finding given by the court without jurisdiction, option A, can operate as res judicata under all circumstances, cannot operate as res judicata, and statement C, can operate as res judicata under certain circumstances only, and option D, can operate as res judicata or may operate as res judicata. Question number 127, correct answer is option B, that is cannot operate as res judicata. This is the right answer. A decision or finding given by the court without jurisdiction is cannot operate as res judicata. Question number 128. Which of the following is not a case on res judicata? Duchess of Kingston case, Chhajuram versus Neki, Munni Bibi versus Triloknath, Bairam Pishtonji Kariwala versus Union of India. Here correct answer is option B, that is Chhajuram versus Neki is not a case on res judicata. Question number 129. A was allotted a plot of land by the Union of India. The allotment was cancelled and the said cancellation was upheld in a writ petition till the Supreme Court. A was, however, given liberty to file a civil suit and seek compensation. A files a suit for the compensation. In the suit, option A, the findings in the final judgment in the writ petition should not operate as res judicata. B, the findings in the final judgment in the writ petition would operate as res judicata. Option C, the findings in the final judgment in the writ petition would operate as res judicata. The issue decided. Option D, the findings of the final judgment in the writ petition would operate as res judicata cure in all issues. In question number 129, correct answer is option C. That is, the findings of the final judgment in the writ petition would operate as res judicata cure the issues we decided. Question number 130. A suit is dismissed wrongly on the ground of being barred by limitation. The order of dismissal would operate as res judicata and bar a subsequent suit on the same cause of action. Here correct answer is option B, that is, the above statement is true. Question number 131. A decision in a stay of suit may operate as res judicata against persons not expressly named as parties to the suit by virtue of explanation. Option A, 3rd to section 11 of CPC, 5 to section 11 of CPC, 6 to section 11 of CPC and 4 to section 11 of CPC. Here correct answer is option C, that is 6 to section 11 of CPC. Question number 132. Section 11 of the CPC contains 5 explanations, 6 explanations, 7 explanations, 8 explanations. Correct answer here is option D, that is 8 explanations. Question number 133. A sues for the possession of Mutt property as an heir of Mahant. The suit is dismissed on its failure to produce a succession certificate. A files subsequent suit as manager of the Mutt. Is the suit barred? Option A, the second suit will be barred by res judicata. Option B, the second suit will not be barred by res judicata. Option C, the second suit is barred by res sub judice. And option D, none of the above. Here correct answer is option B, that is, the second suit will not be barred by res judicata. Question number 134. If the suit is dismissed due in default of the plaintiff and if there is subsequent suit between some parties, the decision of the first suit amounts to res judicata, amounts to res sub judice, does not amount to res judicata, amounts to stay of the subsequent suit. Here correct answer is option C, that is, does not amount to res judicata. Question number 135. A decree for permanent injunction restraining the defendant from interfering with the possession of the plaintiff, finding the possession of the plaintiff to be settled, would operate as res judicata in the suit for partition filed for the defendant for the same property. Option A, yes. Option B, no. Option C, A and B depending on the facts and circumstances of each case, and option D, A and B depending on the discretion of the court. In question number 135, correct answer is option B, that is no. Question number 136. Which one of the following conditions must be satisfied in order to apply the rule of res judicata between co-defendants? Option A, there should be no conflict of interest between the defendants. Option B, there must be co-defendants in more than one suit. The question between the defendant must have been finally decided. The question between the defendants must not have been finally decided. In question number 136, correct answer is option C, that is, the question between the defendant must have been finally decided. Question number 137. That a petition dismissed under Article 226 would operate as res judicata so as to bar a similar petition the Supreme Court under Article 32 of the Constitution was held in the case of. Option A, Dario versus State of MP. Option A, Dario versus State of UP. Option B, Arjun Singh versus State of MP. Option C, Sunil Chandra versus State of West Bengal. And option D, none of the above. In question number 137, correct answer is option A, that is, Dario versus State of UP. Question number 138. Which one of the following is not necessary for the applicability of the doctrine of res judicata? Option A, former suit must be pending before a competent court. Option B, former suit must have been heard and finally decided by a competent court. Option C, parties in the former suit as well as the subsequent suit must be the same. And option D, subject matter in the former and the subsequent suit must be the same. In question number 138, correct answer is option A, that is, the former suit must be pending before a competent court is not a necessary applicability for the doctrine of res judicata. Question number 139. In a contractual dispute between two parties, A and B, A files a suit in New Delhi, where the cause of action arose. 2 days later, B files a suit in the same matters in Mumbai, where A is resident. The pendency of the first suit is not brought to the notice of the court in Mumbai. The court pronounces judgment in second suit before the first suit is decided. Would such a decision would operate as a bar on the court in New Delhi to try the suit further? Here in question number 139, correct answer is option A, that is, yes, the principle of res judicata will apply. Question number 140. A files against B one suit on 6 January 2020 and on the same grounds asking for the same relief on 18 February 2022, Suit filed in February is decided by the court of competent jurisdiction on merits before the suit filed in January could be decided. Examine the validity of the statement. The suit filed on 6 January 2020 is valid and res judicata will apply on the suit filed in February as it was filed later. Here, correct answer in question number 140 is option B, that is the statement is false. Question number 141. Res judicata would operate between a plaintiff and a defendant, co-plaintiff, co-defendant, all of the above. Correct answer here is option D, that is all of the above. Res judicata may operate between plaintiff and defendant, co-plaintiff, co-defendants. Question number 142. The principle of res judicata can be invoked only in separate proceedings, also in subsequent stage of the same proceedings. Option C, depending upon the same things, and option D, none of the above. Here correct answer is option B, that is only in subsequent stage of the same proceeding. Question number 143. Rule of constructive res judicata is contained in which explanation to section 11 of CPC? Here correct answer is option C, that is explanation 4. Question number 144. The principle of constructive res judicata was explained by the Honorable Supreme Court in the case of Daryo versus State of UP, State of UP versus Nawab Hussain, both A and B and none of the above. Here correct answer is option B, that is State of UP versus Nawab Hussain. Question number 145. A bank officer got compulsorily retired in 2014 since the bank authorities did not release the leave encashment in his favor. He filed a writ petition of 2017 in Ranchi High Court for the same and also for the interest on the unpaid amount. The writ petition was disposed of by a learned single judge December 2018, directing the bank to release the privileged leave encashment benefits to the petitioner to the extent that he was entitled in accordance with the law within a certain period. The prayer for the interest was not specifically denied by the court. The bank filed an appeal against the order. The division bench of Ranchi High Court in February 2019 declined to admit the appeal. The bank authorities released the leave encashment in favor of the petitioner. However, A files a writ petition again for the direction to the bank to disburse interest to A at the rate of 18% per annum on leave encashment released by the bank. This petition is covered under which of the following? Option A, Section 11 CPC. Option B, Section 11 Explanation 5 CPC. Option C, Section 11 Explanation 4 of CPC, and option D, Order 2 Rule 2 of CPC. In question number 145, correct answer is option B, that is Section 11 Explanation 5 of CPC. Question number 146. Which of the following judgment of the Supreme Court deals with the applicability of res judicata in a writ petitions? Here correct answer is option B, that is Daryo versus State of UP. Question number 147. The principle of res judicata does not apply in case of writ of habeas corpus. Option A is the right answer. Question number 148. The principle of res judicata is also applicable between co-defendants. Which one of the following is not an essential condition to bind the co-defendants? Option A, the defendant must have been filed joint written statement. Option B, there must be a conflict of interest between the defendant concerned. Option C, it must be necessary to decide this conflict in order to give the plaintiff the relief claims. Option D, that a question between the defendant must have been finally decided. In question number 148, correct answer is option A, that is the co-defendant must have filed a joint written statement. Question number 149. A suit for a declaration that he is entitled to certain land as the heir of C. The suit is dismissed. Subsequently, suit is claimed on the basis of adverse possession. Subsequent suit is barred on the ground of. Correct answer is option A, that is constructive res judicata. Question number 150. The expression former suit in the context of rule of res judicata means a suit which has been instituted prior to the suit in question, decided prior to the suit in question, both A and B, neither A or B. Here correct answer is option B, that is decided prior to the suit in question.